Power Maxed Racing enjoyed an impressive BTCC campaign in 2023, with two of its drivers challenging for the Jack Sears Trophy, while Aron Taylor-Smith made a welcome return to the overall podium after an incredible 7-year absence. Now, looking forward to the 2024 season, I'm delighted to be joined by team principal Adam Weaver. Adam, good to catch up with you. It doesn't seem like 5 minutes since we closed the garage doors down at Brands Hatch for last season, but focus now on 2024 and building on some incredible momentum for you and the team last year.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a harder job to build on last year than building on the year previously, but it's a challenge that we're happy to rise to. It does actually frustrate me a little bit that people almost communicate to us like it was almost a flash in the pan or a bit of a surprise. But, you know, you go back to the year prior to the new engine, and we'd got sort of Jason and Dan Lloyd in the car, and Dan was on the podium at the last 5 rounds of the year, so half of the season. You know, he had 5 podiums in a row. So, you know, we got very, very close to race wins with Dan Lloyd. You know, and prior to that, we've had wins with Jason, we've had wins with Josh Cook, we've had wins with Senna Proctor, we've had podiums with Rob Collard, we've had podiums with Tom Chilton. You know, it's not like as a team we haven't actually operated somewhere near the front, certainly on occasion. I mean, the car was good this year. We definitely developed it. We've, you know, one of the benefits of it being the oldest car on the grid, as people like to point out, is we know the car very well, and we're still learning stuff about the way it likes to be set up. We had a very, very profitable test, should we say, mid-season, where we actually unlocked something in the car which helped us again towards the end of the season. But I think, you know, Aron was really sort of finding his feet, even though he's got a tremendous amount of experience in the championship. You know, the team of engineers that we've got, they did a great job. They actually developed him as a driver. You know, the guy's still developing and improving as a driver through the feedback that the team are giving him. And obviously that showed with some consistent podiums towards the end of the year. And, you know, our aim is to make sure that we come out of the box at the first round and kind of start where we left off, really.
Absolutely. And I mean, just talking about the drivers, Mikey Doble and his rookie season, he had a barnstormer, didn't he?
He did. He had an absolutely fantastic year, and as did Andrew. And you know, it's quite disappointing, really, that it didn't go down to the wire. We had an unfortunate incident with a WSR BMW that basically just drove into the back of Mikey at Brands Hatch and basically ruined his chances of being able to fight till the end of the day with Andrew to win that championship. So, you know, it could have very easily gone a different way. So we're, you know, very happy to retain Mikey's services for 2024, and you know, I'm very adamant he will be one to watch.
Absolutely. It was interesting. I spoke to all 3 of the drivers throughout the season, and there was an incredible level of positivity that just sort of emanated from the 3 of them and from the garage for the whole season.
Yeah, I'd say, I mean, that's something that, you know, I'm not going to take the credit for that as a team or personally in any way, shape, or form, but we had such a frustrating season before that it was very much our focus to make sure that, you know, we were focusing on the positives, focusing on improvement, not, you know, should we end up having situations out of our control arise, we weren't going to let that sort of impact on us. We weren't going to have the negative emotions in the garage. We weren't going to have tantrums. That was all about, you know, making it a really nice place to be. And quite honestly, those guys made it easy because they were all very decent people with very decent families and sort of entourage around them. You know, it can happen that, you know, you might have a great driver, but his dad might be a nightmare, or one of his sponsors might be a nightmare, or there's so many partners involved with going racing. You know, it only takes, as they say, one bad apple to rot a barrel. But
do you have a tantrum occasionally, Adam?
Yes, is the simple answer, but I can assure you, I have to be pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, and then sometimes I will break, but I think most of my team will back me up that if they've ever seen me lose it, then I've done it in order to defend the team, and I was right to do so.
You mentioned previously that you had some very productive testing last year, which enabled you to dial in some extra little bits, which increased what you got out of the Astra. Testing is going to be starting very soon if you haven't had time yet, but starting very soon. Are you anticipating many changes to the Astra for 2024?
There's a few bits of bodywork changes. We've got a full-time team that is working on design and data analysis, and there'll always be there's lots of changes even from round to round. So there will be a significant amount of improvements on the Astra, but the vast majority of them you won't be able to see. They'll be under the bonnet, in the wheel arches, inside the car. There will be some aero tweaks that the very studious supporters will actually see the differences to the front bumpers, basically. But cosmetically, there won't be a great deal of changes.
It would be interesting to see how long it is on social media before somebody spots a 2 mm difference on the on the front wing, won't it?
Well, a few years ago, we actually we ran some different colour valve caps, and somebody actually noticed that.
You've got to love the fans, though, haven't you? That level of dedication is just immense.
And I think it was, it wasn't like we'd gone to like bright yellow valve caps. It was like we'd gone from black to like graphite grey or something like that. And they managed to spot that difference.
What about the third car, Adam?
Still up in the air, really. People don't realise how much work, how many people are involved. So, the drivers are a very big part of helping the team raise the budget. I mean, some of the drivers are lucky enough to be financially wealthy enough to be able to just maybe pay for their seat and not worry too much about bringing in sponsorship. But, certainly sort of Aron, I would say, is one of the hardest working guys in any motorsport in terms of raising his sponsorship budget. The benefit of that was we were able to agree terms for his second year well before the end of last season, and finalised it before the end of the season, which was great. I don't think I've ever had a driver signed before February, to be honest, and to actually have two of them done and announced before Christmas was a fantastic situation for us to be in. But it takes the pressure off a little bit with the third car. Obviously, Andrew had an option on extending the third car, but as I said, these things come down to his sponsors have to align with our sponsors and with the team, and there's so many variables. So that may not happen. But, we are talking to other drivers. But as I've kind of mentioned earlier, these cars are becoming hideously expensive to run.
I'm sure anybody who's interested will know how to get hold of you, Adam. Let's keep our fingers crossed for you on that one.
The seat is definitely open still. So, if you're racing either in the BTCC and haven't thought that we've got a seat available, or you're racing in a similar championship or a feeder championship anywhere in the UK or the world, then by all means get in touch with the championship. And, Alan Gow, Dan Mayo, they'll definitely pass on my details and we can have a conversation.
We'll keep our fingers crossed for you. Adam, just finally, have you started to think yet about what your aspiration is, or at least your line in the sand for 2024?
Well, certainly if we come out the box at a similar rate to how we finished the year last year and have that level of consistency, there's no reason why we can't be certainly mathematically capable of winning the championship at the last round. I think to maybe say that challenging for a championship will certainly be a tall order on the basis that the Ford team has obviously got a very, very talented driver lineup, and also they're very, very well funded. So I think taking it to them will be very difficult. But for me, if we could go into the last round, and even if we were, I don't know, 6th, 7th in the championship, but mathematically it was possible that we could win the championship on the last day, even if that meant that the other 5 or 6 in front of us basically had to not finish a couple of the races. I would consider that a massive success, to be honest, to be just in that number of people that could win the championship on the last day. That would be certainly something I'd be very happy with, and I think as a team we'll be working towards.
Absolutely. The start of the season at Donington Park will be upon us before we know it, but for now, Adam, it's been a real pleasure to catch up with you, and we'll keep our fingers crossed that you might have 3 cars on the grid come the start of the season.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.